It's so funny. We hear people reference the phrase, life is a test. Man, I used to think that is the corniest thing for people to say. But the reality is that life is a test. It is the test of your will to survive. Throughout your adolescence, you're faced with a number of different tests. Heck, at 2 years old, somebody is trying to tell you your colors and asking you, do you know your numbers? Just trying to test your knowledge. And once you enter into the school age, you're provided physical tests. You have to write an answer. And we're introduced to a grading system. Typically, within that grading system, you can receive an F. Now, my goal today is to make sure I change your mindset and we make it more positive. So typically, it's known that F equates to failure. But no! With this mind change that we must come about and we have to understand, F is not failure. Say it to yourself. F is not failure. F is the point in life when you are finding yourself. You're taking that challenge that you were faced with and you're saying, what do I do? I need to know about this in order to make sure I succeed. Now, once you're able to put these things together and gain the knowledge to be able to find yourself, just like in school, you get to retake that test. Now, you did a little studying and you retake this test. A few days later, it comes back and you find out you earned a D. Now, typically, like I said, in the grading system, the D can be seen as not so great. You didn't quite fail and you didn't quite pass. But because you did a little studying, you feel a little bit more confident in yourself. And now you're at that stage of development, right? You can look at it as the test where you're leaving childhood and you're venturing over into adulthood. It's developing who you are for your future. Now, because you took the time and you invested into who you are and allowed yourself to develop, you can retake that test called life. And because you know who you are, you can approach life and say, I'm ready for your test. What can you possibly throw my way? Now, the teacher called life is going to come at you and say, okay, you think you know it all. You think you know who you are. And they're going to give you your exam. In those couple of days to give you the results, life says, I'm going to give it to you right here. Don't move. And you sit there patiently and you wait and life laughs at you. Just like many people do and says, you gotta see, you're average. But because you know who you are, you're not stunned by life telling you that you're just average. You know the truth and you understand that this is the point in life where you get to create your own reality. Because you're not fazed by what life is going to throw your way. It does not make you hit rock bottom. It keeps you where you are and you're ready to say, life, I'm going to tell you what I want out of you. I'm going to tell you what my reality is. Not the perception, but the reality. What it means to me. So now that you've done all this and you stood up to this test called life and said, I am a survivor, some days you realize that, man, maybe I was just tricking myself. Maybe I don't have this thing called life figured out. Because when I wake up, I just don't feel right. I know I don't have a reason to be unhappy, but I just don't want to smile. Some days I may go to the beach and just want to cry. But on the surface, there's nothing that should make me feel this way. I should smile all the time. But it's one thing that you kind of forgot along the way. All that time that you invested into you, all that time you invested into becoming that VP of that company, all that time you invested in being the best mother, the best father you could be. You left a little bit of who you were becoming behind. And now at this point in life, you can breathe and reflect. You have the time to do so. And now you're at that stage that we typically can equate to almost doing great as B, and that's balance. That's your ability to take that spiritual self, the physical, who you are and who you've developed into, the financial aspects of reality, and you bring it all together. It's a wonderful place to have balance. And you're there. Some people feel like, man, I made it at this point. I can take that trip I wanted to take and not really worry about it. I got my friend back, we started talking. Everything seems to be balanced. But it's something on the inside of you, at the core of who you are, that's still yearning for more. Now, some people call it greed, but I don't call it that. That's striving for the greatness that you were put on this earth to achieve. And that moment that you wake up, that morning that you realize that you want to make sure you touch that burn and you actually feed that yearning you have to be great, you're at that ultimate. You're at that time in which you ace that test. Now this time you get to tell Mr. Life, hey, I'm ready for you. I am living life abundantly. I found who I was at F. I developed into who I am today at D. And once I got to that point, I was able to get to C when you laughed at me, and I created my reality around what you wanted me to be. And then I took everything and I put it all together. And those friends that you thought you was gonna take out my life, that financial security you thought that I forgot about, and that time when you thought that I didn't know that I am spiritually well, I brought it back into my life. And oh, that was B. So now that I've done all those things, I can smile every day because I'm living my life abundantly.